so cheap. It must have been wrong, she assured herself as she peed on the more expensive ones in the pharmacy bathroom. It wasn't wrong. She was pregnant. The nausea started almost immediately. That day, during her shift at the hospital where she was working as a translator, she had frozen several times mid-sentence, hand up, eyes closed, waiting for the wave of nausea to pass over her. She knew that she would need to have an abortion. What other option was there? She'd had one before, and unlike in the dramatic way it was portrayed in movies and on TV, it wasn't a difficult choice. She wasn't traumatized afterward, and no part of her regretted that decision. Yet now, somehow, it did not feel like a possibility at all. Why was that? Ben had always been clear about not wanting children. Forcing a child on someone who didn't want one was barbaric. But hadn't she also been sure that she didn't want one until, suddenly, she did? She called her grandmother to tell her the news. Her grandmother had stopped being able to outwardly understand things, but it was still possible, Zhenia thought, that she was at least partially in there. Anyway, she was the only person whom Zhenia wanted to tell. She called the house, and her mother answered. Zhenia had been hoping that it would be Nathaniel, her stepdad, because he lacked curiosity and never asked questions. He'd married her mom when Zhenia was 6 years old, and was the only father figure Zhenia had ever known, and yet she never thought of him as Dad. But he was a reliable presence. He could be counted on to shuffle up the stairs with the cordless phone and hold it to her grandmother's ear and not think anything of it afterward. Her mother, though, was a different story.
Zhenichka.
Her mother, Marina, was already sighing.
What gibberish. Don't use your grandmother's dying body as your confessor. You want to help your grandmother? Come back here once in a while and help me take care of her. Change her sheets, brush her hair, massage her legs with lotion so she doesn't get sores. Do something practical for once. Don't whisper bullshit into the phone while I hold it to her unhearing, unseeing, unthinking, but still somehow living head. It's grotesque.
Then she hung up. But what did her mother know about what Baba Vera could or couldn't hear? And if her grandmother had been able to speak, she would surely have disdained the practical. She would have wanted exactly what Zhenia was offering. The contents of her heart. A few days later, Zhenia and Ben went out to dinner at the Thai place in the strip mall across the street. She thought she would tell Ben then, but she didn't. She felt instinctually protective of what was growing in her. Telling him, she sensed, would let the air out. Or in. Wasn't that how Hemingway described an abortion in Hills Like White Elephants?
It's an awfully simple operation. Just let the air in.
The characters never talked about it directly. She'd read that story in a high school English class after having her first abortion and laughed at the melodrama of it, laughed hysterically enough to be sent out into the hallway. Part of why she couldn't stop laughing was because the boy in her class who'd impregnated her had thought the story was about a lobotomy. And now? What? She could at least feel the pain of the woman who was being strong-armed into something she didn't want. Ben was telling her about the reality show he edited, how one of the women was on a weird citrus diet and was eating oranges with the skin on. He'd edited a reel of her spitting seeds constantly into her hand. That woman's husband was rumored to be a psycho, maybe even a murderer or serial predator. What if there was footage of him in the background of a scene they'd shot at their house, holding a murder weapon? It's funny, Zhenia found herself saying, as though it related to what he'd just been talking about. That something can be nothing or everything, depending on what value you assign it.